Hi JikookVerse family, welcome back to JikookVerse. Tonight, we are taking you straight into a night in Toronto that has everyone talking, because what happened between Jimin and Jungkook during day one at Rogers Stadium was the kind of moment that instantly grabbed everyone's attention. The lights were already filling the stadium, the crowd was roaring, and the energy inside Rogers Stadium was reaching another level. Thousands of ARMY were waiting for every move, every smile, every interaction, and every second of the performance. But then, in the middle of all that excitement, one unexpected moment changed the atmosphere around Jimin. Jimin had moved closer to the edge of the stage, greeting fans, and enjoying the incredible response from the Toronto crowd. He was smiling, waving, and completely immersed in the moment. The atmosphere felt warm, energetic, and almost overwhelming. And then suddenly, several excited fans rushed toward the area where Jimin was standing. The reaction was immediate. The security team moved quickly, but for a brief moment, the distance between Jimin and the excited crowd became much smaller than expected. Jimin appeared surprised by the sudden movement, and this is where Jungkook caught everyone's attention. Jungkook noticed what was happening almost instantly. Instead of continuing with his own performance, his attention shifted directly toward Jimin. He moved closer. His body language changed. His focus was no longer on the audience in front of him. It was on Jimin. For fans watching from the crowd, the moment felt incredibly intense because Jungkook seemed to instinctively position himself near Jimin as the security team stepped in. There was no need for a dramatic announcement. There was no need for a long conversation. Jungkook simply moved toward him, and that single movement became one of the biggest talking points of the night. JikookVerse family, you know how quickly ARMY can notice the smallest details between these two. A glance, a smile, a change in position, a hand gesture, a step closer. And tonight, it was that step closer that had everyone paying attention. Jungkook stood near Jimin while security worked to restore a safe distance between the stage and the audience. Jimin appeared to regain his composure, and once the situation was under control, the performance continued. But the moment had already happened, and for many Jikook fans, it was impossible not to notice how quickly Jungkook reacted. There was something especially striking about the timing. Jungkook was performing. Jimin was interacting with the audience. The crowd was incredibly loud. Yet somehow, Jungkook noticed the sudden movement around Jimin almost immediately. That is why the moment became so memorable. Of course, the most important thing was that everyone remained safe. The excitement of a concert can become intense very quickly, especially inside a packed stadium. Fans want to get closer to their favorite artists want to connect with their audience, and security teams have to make sure those interactions remain safe for everyone. But once the immediate situation was handled, the attention shifted back to the stage. And that is when another side of Jungkook appeared. Because if you thought the biggest surprise of the night was the moment involving Jimin, wait until you hear about what Jungkook did next. Jungkook brought his taekwondo skills onto the stage. Yes, JikookVerse family. The same Jungkook who had just been watching over Jimin suddenly turned the stage into a showcase of athletic movement. His energy completely changed. He moved with confidence, precision, and incredible control. The crowd reacted immediately. The atmosphere became electric again. Jungkook's movements were sharp and powerful, and the performance highlighted another side of his personality. He has always been known for being athletic, but seeing that energy incorporated into a concert performance created a completely different atmosphere. The audience screamed as Jungkook demonstrated his skills. And while everyone was watching him, there was another detail that caught the attention of Jikook fans. Jimin was there. Jimin was watching, and the interaction between them created another unforgettable part of the evening. Jungkook finished the sequence with the confidence of someone completely comfortable on stage. The crowd erupted, Jimin reacted, and suddenly the entire stadium felt like one giant celebration. For Jikook fans, those moments can feel especially meaningful because the connection between two performers can sometimes be seen through the smallest reactions. One person performs, the other watches. One person smiles, the other notices. One person takes the spotlight, the other celebrates them. And that dynamic was exactly what made the night so entertaining for the JikookVerse family. But let's go back to the beginning, because the energy inside Rogers Stadium was already extraordinary before any of these moments happened. Toronto had been waiting. Army had been waiting. And when the lights came down, the stadium transformed. The audience screamed as the stage lights appeared. The sound traveled through the stadium, and every section seemed to move with the music. Jimin entered with his unmistakable stage presence. Jungkook followed with his own powerful energy. And immediately, the chemistry between the performers became part of the atmosphere. There was no need for the audience to be reminded where to look. Every movement drew attention. Every interaction created another reaction. And when Jimin and Jungkook found themselves near each other, the crowd became even louder. That is one of the fascinating things about a Jikook-focused concert experience. The audience doesn't only watch the performance. They watch the reactions. They watch who looks at whom. They notice when one member moves toward another. They notice when one member laughs because of something the other member did. And they notice when something unexpected happens. Tonight had all of those ingredients. Then came the unexpected rush toward Jimin. For a few seconds, the mood shifted. Jimin was no longer simply performing. Security had to react. Jungkook noticed, and the atmosphere became tense. But Jungkook's response was what stood out to many fans. He didn't create additional chaos. He didn't turn the situation into a spectacle. He simply moved closer to Jimin and remained attentive while the situation was handled. That calm reaction made the moment even more noticeable. Because sometimes the most powerful moments are not the loudest ones. Sometimes it is a simple movement, a quick glance, a protective stance, a decision to stay nearby, and that is exactly what fans saw in this moment. Once everything was settled, Jimin returned his attention to the audience. He smiled, the crowd responded, and the tension disappeared. Jungkook also returned to the performance, but the emotional impact of those few seconds remained. For Jikook fans, it was one of those moments that feels larger than the amount of time it actually lasted. And then, as the show continued, Jungkook's taekwondo moment gave the audience another reason to scream. The contrast was almost perfect. Just moments earlier, Jungkook had been standing close to Jimin during an unexpected situation. Now he was confidently demonstrating his physical skills in front of thousands of people. The crowd loved every second. His movements were controlled. His timing was precise. His expression was focused. And his stage presence was impossible to ignore. The stadium seemed to get louder with every movement. Jimin watched from nearby, and the atmosphere between the two became another talking point for fans. There is something special about seeing one performer completely dominate a performance while another member watches with visible attention. It creates a different kind of energy. And tonight, Jungkook had that moment. He was not simply singing. He was not simply dancing. He was showing another skill. And he was doing it in front of a massive Toronto audience. The response was enormous. Fans shouted. Fans cheered. And the stage became a celebration of Jungkook's athletic side. But JikookVerse family, there is another reason this moment became so interesting. The sequence made the entire night feel like a story. First, Jimin was interacting with the audience. Then an unexpected rush created a brief moment of concern. Jungkook moved closer. Security stepped in. The situation was resolved. And shortly afterward, Jungkook delivered an energetic taekwondo showcase. It was almost as if the night kept giving the audience one surprise after another. And through it all, Jimin and Jungkook continued sharing the same stage. For fans who follow their every interaction, that was enough to make day one in Toronto feel unforgettable. Now, let's talk about the phrase that has been circulating among fans after moments like this. Jungkook protected Jimin. That is the way many fans describe what they saw. And within the world of Jikook fandom, that interpretation carries a lot of emotional weight. Because Jungkook's quick movement toward Jimin can easily be viewed by fans as a sign of care. It is important to separate that fan interpretation from what can actually be established from a performance moment. We cannot know exactly what was going through Jungkook's mind. We cannot know every thought behind a glance or movement, but what fans can see is behavior. Jungkook noticed the situation. He moved toward Jimin. He remained nearby while security intervened. And then the show continued. For fans, those visible actions were enough to create a powerful emotional reaction. And that is why the moment became so important to the JikookVerse family, because fandom is often about the details. The little moments between the major performances, the reactions that happen when the cameras are moving from one person to another, the smiles that appear for only a second, the moments that make fans pause the footage and say, "Did you see that?" And tonight had plenty of those moments. Jimin also appeared comfortable again after the situation was resolved. His smile returned. His energy came back, and the crowd once again became part of the performance. That was important because the night was never supposed to be defined by one unexpected incident. The focus was the music, the performance, the connection between the artists and the audience, and the incredible energy inside Rogers Stadium. But naturally, fans are going to remember the spontaneous moments too, especially when those moments involve Jimin and Jungkook. And then there was Jungkook's taekwondo showcase. JikookVerse family, if you were watching that moment, you already know why it became such a big highlight. Jungkook has an athletic presence that translates naturally to the stage. His movements have power. His timing is controlled. And when he performs something physical, he brings the same intensity that he brings to singing and dancing. The taekwondo sequence gave the audience a chance to see him in a different way. It wasn't simply another choreography section. It felt like a display of discipline and physical confidence. The crowd responded exactly the way you would expect. Loud cheers, huge reactions, and endless excitement. Then Jungkook returned to the larger performance, and the show continued at full speed. But the connection between the two remained part of the atmosphere. Jimin and Jungkook were once again moving through the concert, performing their parts and engaging with the crowd. And every time they appeared close to each other, the audience reacted. This is what makes a live concert so different from watching a recording. Anything can happen. A performer can make an unexpected gesture. A fan can create an unexpected moment. A member can react to something happening nearby. And suddenly, a few seconds become the moment everyone talks about afterward. That is exactly what happened in Toronto. The rush toward Jimin created a sudden change in the atmosphere. Jungkook's response added another layer. Then the taekwondo showcase gave the crowd another unforgettable performance moment. And together, those pieces created a night that fans will continue discussing. But let's not forget Jimin. Because while much of the attention has focused on Jungkook's response, Jimin also handled the situation with professionalism. He continued performing. He stayed engaged with the audience. And he helped bring the atmosphere back to the excitement that had filled the stadium from the beginning. That is what experienced performers do. They know how to recover from unexpected moments. They know how to stay focused. And they know how to keep the audience connected. Jimin's ability to return to the performance helped the night continue without allowing the unexpected moment to overwhelm the show. And Jungkook's presence nearby made the moment even more memorable for fans. Together, they created an atmosphere that felt very natural, one member dealing with an unexpected situation, the other paying attention, security doing their job, the audience reacting, and then everyone returning to the music. It was a brief sequence, but it carried a lot of emotion for fans, and that is why JikookVerse family has so much to talk about tonight. Now, let's get into the bigger conversation. Does a moment like this prove that Jungkook loves Jimin? For many fans, the answer emotionally feels like yes. They see Jungkook moving toward Jimin and immediately connect it with the deep bond they believe exists between the two. But the meaning of a public moment ultimately belongs to the people involved. Fans can enjoy the interaction, celebrate the chemistry, and talk about what the moment means to them without claiming to know private feelings. And honestly, that is what makes these moments enjoyable. You can watch the same few seconds and notice something different every time. One fan might focus on Jungkook's movement. Another might focus on Jimin's reaction. Another might notice how quickly the atmosphere changed. Another might simply enjoy seeing the two sharing the stage. There is room for all of those reactions. And tonight, the JikookVerse family definitely had plenty to react to. One thing is certain within the story of this concert night. Jungkook noticed Jimin. Jungkook moved closer. The situation was handled. Jimin continued performing. And later, Jungkook delivered an energetic taekwondo showcase that had the Toronto audience screaming. Those are the moments that turned an already exciting concert into something fans will remember. And the setting made it even bigger. Rogers Stadium, Toronto, Day 1, a packed crowd, thousands of army, and 2 performers sharing a stage while the energy continued rising throughout the night. The city brought its own intensity. Toronto fans are known for bringing incredible energy to major performances, and that energy was obvious throughout the evening. Every cheer added to the atmosphere. Every scream amplified the performance. And when Jungkook began his taekwondo sequence, the audience response showed just how invested everyone was in the show. Then, when Jimin appeared again, the crowd responded with the same enthusiasm. It was a night built around connection. Artist and audience, music and performance, energy and emotion. And for the JikookVerse family, Jimin and Jungkook sharing the same stage. The unexpected moment involving Jimin could have changed the mood completely. Instead, the performers and security team handled it and the concert moved forward. That is something worth emphasizing. Fans can be passionate. Fans can be excited. But keeping a safe distance and respecting the performer's space is essential. Supporting an artist should never mean putting them in an uncomfortable or unsafe situation. The best concert memories happen when everyone can enjoy the show safely. And that includes Jimin. That includes Jungkook. That includes every member on stage. And it includes every ARMY member in the stadium. So while the moment has become an emotional talking point for Jikook fans, the bigger message is simple. Enjoy the connection. Enjoy the performance. But always respect boundaries. Now back to the moment that everyone keeps replaying. Jungkook's movement toward Jimin. There is something about the speed of the reaction that made fans notice. It happened naturally. There was no preparation. No obvious cue, just a sudden change in the environment and Jungkook responding. For fans who already love watching their interactions, that kind of spontaneous reaction becomes especially meaningful. And then came the taekwondo showcase. The 2 moments could not have been more different. One was quiet and protective. The other was energetic and explosive, yet both happened within the same concert. That contrast made the night feel even more memorable. Jungkook showed athletic confidence. Jimin showed professionalism. And the audience showed exactly how invested they were in the performance. By the end of the sequence, the stadium was back to full concert energy. Music continued. Lights moved across the stage. Fans sang along, and the performers continued giving the audience everything they had. But the Jikook moments remained in the minds of fans. Because when you follow Jimin and Jungkook closely, you know that sometimes the smallest interaction can become the biggest conversation. One glance can start thousands of comments. One smile can become a viral moment. One step toward another member can have fans analyzing every second. And tonight, Jungkook's decision to move toward Jimin became one of those moments. For the JikookVerse family, it was a moment of care, a moment of attention, and a moment that fans found deeply touching. Then Jungkook's taekwondo skills added another unforgettable highlight. It showed confidence, discipline, athletic ability, and stage presence, all in one sequence, and Jimin was there to witness it. That combination was enough to make fans emotional all over again. So if we look back at Day 1 in Toronto, several moments stand out. The incredible energy inside Rogers Stadium, Jimin connecting with the audience, the unexpected rush toward him, Jungkook noticing and moving closer, security restoring the safe distance, Jimin returning to the performance, and Jungkook later showing off his taekwondo skills on stage. Each moment was different, but together they created a night full of memorable scenes. And that is exactly what live performances are supposed to do. Give fans moments they cannot experience anywhere else. Moments that happen once. Moments that cannot be perfectly repeated. Moments that become memories. For Jikook fans, this particular memory will probably be remembered as one of those nights when Jungkook's attention toward Jimin became impossible to miss. Not because of a dramatic declaration, not because of a planned speech, but because of a simple reaction during an unexpected moment. And sometimes, those are the moments fans treasure most. JikookVerse family, if there is one thing this night reminded everyone of, it is that the stage can change in a second. One moment, everything is choreography. The next moment, something unexpected happens. And suddenly, genuine reactions become part of the performance experience. Jungkook's response was one of those moments. His taekwondo showcase was another. Jimin's recovery and continued performance was another. And the Toronto audience brought the energy that connected everything together. As the concert continued, the excitement never really disappeared. The audience stayed loud. The performers stayed focused. And the night continued moving from one highlight to another. But for fans watching through the Jikook lens, the emotional center of the story remained Jimin and Jungkook. Jimin was at the center of an unexpected moment. Jungkook moved toward him. And later, Jungkook took over the stage with his athletic skills. Those details are exactly why this night has become such a memorable part of the JikookVerse conversation. And if you ask fans what they saw in Jungkook's reaction, you will probably hear many different answers. Some will call it protective. Some will call it caring. Some will simply say that Jungkook was being attentive to a fellow performer. And some will see it as another beautiful moment between two people they deeply admire. There does not need to be only one way to appreciate it. What matters is that the moment meant something to the people watching. And for Jikook fans, that meaning was powerful. The night in Toronto was not just about one moment, it was about an entire atmosphere. The stadium, the music, the lights, the audience, the performances, the unexpected reactions, and the unforgettable chemistry that fans continue to celebrate. So as day one comes to an end, the conversation is already moving forward. What happens next? What other moments will Toronto bring? Will Jimin and Jungkook share more memorable interactions? Will Jungkook surprise everyone with another athletic moment? And what will ARMY notice the next time they step onto the stage? Those are the questions fans will be watching closely. But for tonight, one thing is already clear. Day one gave JikookVerse family a moment they will not forget. Jimin experienced an unexpected rush from excited fans. Jungkook noticed. He moved closer. The situation was handled safely. And then Jungkook reminded everyone just how powerful his stage presence can be with his taekwondo showcase. For fans, that combination was unforgettable. And while some may see only a few seconds of a concert, Jikook fans know how much emotion can live inside those few seconds. A glance, a step, a reaction, a smile, a performance. Sometimes that is all it takes to create a moment that stays in the fandom conversation for days. And that is why tonight's Toronto concert has become such a major topic for the JikookVerse family. Not because the night needed drama, but because the unexpected moments made the performance feel alive. Jimin continued shining. Jungkook continued delivering. The audience continued cheering. And together, they created another unforgettable concert memory. So, JikookVerse family, that brings us to the end of tonight's story. From the sudden rush toward Jimin, to Jungkook stepping closer, to the incredible taekwondo showcase that had Rogers Stadium erupting, Day one in Toronto delivered plenty of moments for fans to remember. And if there is one image that will stay with many Jikook fans tonight, it is Jungkook noticing Jimin and immediately moving in his direction. That simple reaction became one of the most talked about moments of the evening. Then came the taekwondo. Then came the cheers. Then came the smiles. And the concert continued. Whatever your favorite moment was, the energy of Toronto was undeniable. And for the JikookVerse family, this is exactly why these performances are so special. You never know which second will become the moment everyone remembers. Thank you for spending tonight with JikookVerse family. Keep enjoying the music, keep supporting Jimin and Jungkook with respect, and keep celebrating the moments that make these performances unforgettable. This has been JikookVerse, and Day one in Toronto has officially given us a night to remember.